I get a lot of questions about what to bring with you into the parks at Disney World. While my answers can wildly change depending on your family dynamic, there are just a few useful things I have found very handy to have when I'm at the parks. And some of these just might surprise you and give you some good ideas on what you should bring on your next trip to Disney World. Hey Seekers, Tisha here. There is so much to think about when planning a Disney vacation. Whether you're flying in, driving, or you're local to the area, there are so many things to think through on what to bring with you. You don't want to be too loaded down, but you want to make sure and have what you need. Plus, you never know what you're allowed to bring inside the parks. Here are some useful things that I have started bringing with me as I travel to Disney. Did you know you can bring your own food into any of the 4 parks at Disney World? This includes meals. You can even bring them in a cooler. Now, of course, there are some stipulations, like the cooler can't be massive. It can only be 24 by 15 by 18. There can't be any glass in it, and you can't pack it with loose ice, like the ice that would be at the resort. It has to be ice packs or frozen water bottles if that works better for you. And sometimes this is even better because you can use it for water later on. In these coolers, you can pack all kinds of things: Lunchables, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, Uncrustables, which are also peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I know, just a little different though, string cheese, granola bars, goldfish, fruit snacks, cuties, and anything sweet for the sweet tooth in your party. We always have food delivered when we're at the resorts, and you can pack really any food that you have delivered into that cooler as long as it fits. Another thing I like to bring on any of my Disney vacations and just throw in my bag, whatever bag I'm bringing for the day, is a disposable poncho. I like to keep them close by and handy because the Florida weather is literally wild. It can rain one moment and be completely sunny the next. And that rain, when it comes, it can sneak up on you faster than you think. Honestly, we never let the rain drive us away from any parks. In fact, sometimes when it does rain, it doesn't last very long, and the lines for our favorite rides end up being really short. So if you can hold out while the rain comes, I bet you'll get to ride more of your favorite rides that day at whatever park you're in. The next tip I have is bringing a change of socks. I think it's always a good idea to keep a change of socks with you, just in case you get wet from an unexpected water ride, rain shower might pop up, or just a long day of walking in the park. Sometimes a change of socks can be really nice, and a comfy, clean pair can give you the second wind that you've been needing. My husband loves doing this, and he does not go anywhere without taking an extra pair of socks with him. One of the things I do every morning at a resort is make sure everybody's water bottle is filled up with nice cold water, and that everyone has an extra water bottle in their backpack. Disney lets you take in reusable water bottles, which I am so thankful for. Of course, every park does have options to buy water or sodas or some adult beverages, but all those do cost money, and so we always bring a full water bottle along with another water bottle or 2 for each person. And what's really cool is there are many places that will fill it up for free. That way, when you run out, you can just ask them if they'll fill it up for you, and they usually top it off. I think this helps us stay hydrated. It helps when we're in the hot sun all day waiting in rides, just keeping people from getting dehydrated. Plus, it saves us money, which is always a great thing. If you've spent any time whatsoever at Disney World, you'll notice that they only have paper straws. This really wouldn't be so bad if these straws didn't disintegrate faster than you could consume your drink, but it does. So I recommend that you bring your own reusable straws for yourself, for your kids. Disney obviously prefers paper straws, but if you're used to drinking out of straws that don't break down right in front of your eyes, then I would bring your own. We usually bring the metal ones. They're so awesome, and you can kind of pack them down so that they have a nice little spot in your backpack. Plastic straws are not allowed at Disney's Animal Kingdom, the water parks, or at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. This includes Kadini Village and Jambo House. Between taking pictures on your phone, texting, calling, using the Disney My Experience app, your phone battery will not last long at Disney unless you give it some backup power. So having a good quality battery backup for your phone is so essential at Disney. Do not forget this. Also, you can bring in your own point-and-shoot camera, and even your DSLR camera is allowed as well if you want to bring them. However, keep in mind that selfie sticks are not permitted on the park grounds. I obviously have been talking about a lot of things to bring into any of the parks that you're going to. You are going to need a backpack, a bag, or a purse to bring into Disney parks to hold all of this stuff. You can bring any of those in as long as they are 24 inches long, 15 inches wide, and 18 inches high. There are often times that you will get pulled over at the Disney entrance just to do a security check if you do have one of these items. Sometimes you get pulled over randomly, but also sometimes when you walk through the scanner, it beeps and security just has to take a look through your bag. Don't worry, this has happened to the best of us. And my experience has been that it usually happens when you're in the biggest hurry. Disney also allows you to bring any type of medication into the Disney parks. Disney is very accommodating in this regard. If your medication is in the form of a pen or a shot, inform security and they'll be able to help you out with that. Disney also has refrigerators at each first aid station at each park to keep medication there if it needs to stay cool. Did you know if you have a service dog, your service dog is welcome inside each Disney park? Talk about the greatest day ever! Disney World and your dog! Okay, there are some limitations here, and that is that the service dog has to be for a disabled person. This cannot be an emotional support or comfort dog. Okay, this probably will not apply to anyone, literally anyone listening to this video, but it's so funny I had to share it. The Disney website also lists a miniature support horse is allowed inside the parks. What? A miniature support horse would be something to see. I would absolutely go wild if I saw that. I would love to hear some of the funniest things that you've seen while you're at Disney. Put those in the chat below so that we can talk about it. Something else that you should slip into your backpack when you're packing in the morning to head to a park is a quick dry towel. This can come in handy in so many ways. You can use it to shield yourself from the sun when you're in an outdoor line. You can use it to sit on when you're waiting for a parade or watching fireworks. And of course, you can use it to dry off anything that needs to be dried off. Maybe a ride that's gotten wet or a bench that's gotten wet. You never know when those unpredictable storms might pop up in Florida. This is not just a comfort item, but honestly, it can be really useful inside the parks too. Are you like me? Do you lose your child a lot? Okay, not a lot, but this one does hit close to home because I have lost my child at Disney World, and losing a child can be so scary, but losing them at Disney World can be a nightmare. There's so many people and there's so many places they can go. One thing that can be extremely helpful and can get your child back as quickly as possible is a child safety ID band. You can find these on Amazon. If a Disney cast member finds your child before you do, they can call you promptly and get you reunited before you can say bippity boppity boo. Another thing you can use for your child if they tend to run off is an Apple AirTag. You can also put this in a rubber band watch band and just put it around their wrist, and it's really handy to keep track of your kid in different areas. One of the most common things that can throw a big wrench in your Disney vacations are blisters on your feet. Sometimes your shoes or your socks are just rubbing really weird and creating a blister. You walk so much at the Disney parks, and it's important to really take care of your feet while you're there. Making sure everyone is wearing a good broken-in pair of shoes is very important, but even with these comfortable shoes, sometimes blisters can happen. I make sure to have some blister patches or blister balm with me at all times. This can be a huge lifesaver. Also, I carry some Gold Bond powder with me for any unfortunate chafing events that might happen. No matter what time of year you go, I can pretty much guarantee you that sunscreen will need to be used. You can use sunscreen that needs to be squeezed out of a tube or an aerosol kind. Either one are allowed in the parks. I would say just don't forget to reapply. It's so easy to get distracted by everything going on that it's just easy to forget and you don't keep putting it on, which usually means sunburns. I usually take the opportunity to reapply when I'm waiting in lines or stop for a meal. The Florida sun really can be quite brutal, so don't let a sunburn ruin your Disney World trip. Maybe you don't like to use sunscreen or you just forget to use it and put it on, then bring a sun hat. In fact, you can bring both. I think it's always nice to have the sun off your face when you're walking around on a very hot day. If you're bringing this for one of your kids, or maybe you're a kid at heart, I would just make sure that it has a chin strap so that you don't lose it when you're on a ride or it's a windy day, or you can just let it hang on your back if you're tired of wearing it. I'm sure I don't even have to mention this. And of course, you know that the Disney parks are full of people, even on low crowd days. So I recommend bringing sanitizing wipes and hand sanitizer. You will be touching a lot of rails, bars on rides, using restrooms that literally hundreds of people have used before you. I'm grossed out just thinking about it. Don't forget to throw these in your backpack because they will be so helpful. And what's awesome is they're very compact. All right, this next thing will take up a little more space in your backpack, but I promise you on hot days, it will be well worth it. We have been to Disney in the summer before, and boy, was it hot. We brought a portable fan that we pulled out in the afternoon, and my family of 5 took turns using it. I said took turns in parentheses because we kept trying to steal it from each other, but it saved us. I have seen the neck fans that people use also, and they look so comfortable, or they look like they're doing a good job cooling people, but I don't know if I'm quite ready to pull the trigger on getting one of those yet. We brought one that we could recharge in our resort room every night, or if we needed to, we could recharge it with one of our portable chargers during the day. If you have young kids, then this next one is for you. Bring your strollers. Of course, kids' strollers are permitted inside of all the Disney parks, as long as they're under 30 inches high and 52 inches wide. Some guests may not be aware that stroller wagons are actually not allowed inside the parks, although they would be so useful, especially for some of our bigger kids. But if you show up with a wagon, you'll have to ride it on back to your hotel room or to your car, and that would be a big bummer. This is the last thing that I'm going to be talking about today: electric mobility scooters, or electric conveyance vehicles, or EVCs, or mobility scooters are allowed in the parks for guests that have trouble walking long distances or standing for long periods of times. You can bring your own if you have one, or you can rent a scooter from a third party and have it delivered to a resort hotel for your convenience. We have traveled multiple times to Disney with someone who's needed to rent an EVC, and every company that we have used has been so helpful. And one time we even had an EVC breakdown in a park, and they delivered a new one that very day. In fact, within the very hour of us renting it. They were awesome. These companies are usually great to work with and have excellent customer service. And of course, something else I love about Disney is they provide access for EVCs on all of their free transportation for the Skyliner, buses, and the monorail. It might take you a bit longer to get on, but I would recommend that you make sure you get in line for any of these transportation methods earlier than you think, so you can make sure and make it to the reservation that you have on time. These lines can be long, especially first thing in the morning or late at night after fireworks are done. Sometimes there can be multiple scooters that are waiting to get on the buses or the Skyliner, even the monorail, and this does just take longer for you to get back to your resort. But as long as you know that and you're planning for that extra time, this should not ruin your trip. Just make sure that you have someone who loves to talk with you, or you pull out your book to read while you're waiting. I usually skim the My Disney Experience app to figure out what my day is going to look like, or to see what my next day will look like, depending on if it's in the morning or in the evening. And that's it. I know you're thinking, that's it? That was a lot of items. It was, for sure. I totally get it. But most of these are compact items that you can put in a backpack or a bag and will really make your trip so much better. These items are useful and things that we use every single time we're in the park, and they really do help us. I hope that you have found them useful also. I'd love to hear about some things that might be on your list but haven't made it on mine yet. Maybe I don't even know about it, and it would be such a great thing for me to bring into the park next time I'm on my trip. Just put those in the comments below, and maybe we can brainstorm a little bit more. As always, let's just keep making our trips better and better as we keep seeking the magic together.